Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot. And really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Now, those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Sunday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there. Join the militia. Rate, review, subscribe, Apple iTunes if you would, please. That would be great. If you want to rate a review, you got something nice to say, go ahead and do that. If you don't have anything nice to say, well, email me instead. How about that? I hope that works for everybody. So glad to be back. It's been a little slow. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe a year ago today, or during this time a year ago, we were still doing a show a week. So, it's been dead. A little bit of radio silence on the football stuff for spring. We do have a little bit of that. We got a little bit of everything actually, and we'll talk about it. We'll go over everything, and we'll be back, obviously when more news hits. But it's just been slow. It's been oddly slow. Is it?
And we've been busy, right?
Well, this is the busiest time of the year. Well, for you too, really. You got softball and everything, and I've got 6 days a week of lacrosse for my oldest. I got 2-3 days a week of t-ball, which is, I used to remember t-ball being really fun. And, you do it for a couple years, when you're a new parent, and it's great. And then, you have a 14-year-old, now you got a 6-year-old going back to t-ball, and it's like, and they extended the length of the games, which is pointless. But it's fun. Like, one inning's cool. Oh, man. And they lowered the age, so it's 3 to 6. 3-year-olds?
3?
Dude, yes.
So he's at that point there where he's like the oldest, and it's probably like, oh, man.
Oh, yeah, it's agonizing. The only fielding they do is to first. It's the only fielding. So every ball, no matter where it comes, they go to first base. Obviously, kids take one base at a time. You can get outs, but they let them run, which is fine. I mean, I don't see the point of making them go sit yet. Especially at 3 years old. I don't even understand it. I mean, you barely get them on the base. It's rough. Anyway, I digress. So we are going to get into all of that stuff here, starting with lacrosse. Look, Bet Online, your premier sponsor for the Cuse Militia and Sports Drink. Look, it's that time of year again. All the eyes are on professional basketball in the Major League. BetOnline.ag has all of the betting action in professional basketball. The conference races are heating up as teams prepare to make the run for the playoffs. And if baseball is your first love, BetOnline has you covered. If you love hockey, golf, MMA, and championship boxing, BetOnline has it all. Every sport, every game, every matchup, BetOnline has you covered for all odds and real-time updates, and is the place to be for all your sports betting needs. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to place and check in on all your favorite sports bets all the time. Head to the website or use your mobile device today to sign up with BetOnline. That's betonline.ag. Go there. Sign up today. The Locker Room app. If you haven't downloaded it, try it out. Download it. It's an easy way for us to kind of go live. It's audio only. You can go there. You can follow us. And when we go live, you will get a notification if we decide to do so. I think we might try it out. Today. Who knows? So go there. You need an email address and a username. Go there. Sign up. There's plenty of other things too. Plus, you don't have to just listen to us. You can do your own thing there at Locker Room. You want to start your own little thing on Locker Room, create your own room and have a good time. All you need is some earbuds and the app, your phone. That's it. Make sure you're fully charged and you're ready to go. Locker Room. In partner with Cuse Militia and Sports Drink. Okay, so The Syracuse Orange lacrosse team was kind of our hope a little bit after, when it first started and basketball's a little rough. Basketball ends on a high note. Lacrosse goes through its lull. They pick up a big win yesterday after losing four of the last four ACC games before beating UVA 13-11 yesterday on the road. They sit 6-4 overall, 2-3 in the conference with one game left, right? They play Notre Dame again.
Yeah, they lost the last three ACC games, yeah. And one earlier to Army this year.
Okay, you're right. That's right. I said 4, didn't I?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it would be 3, seeing that their conference record's 2-3. So, anyways, it looked bad, especially with the 21-9 loss to UNC, which was the game that Chase Scanlon, he's been suspended indefinitely for some kind of incident after that game, which, I mean, whatever. Is he going to come back?
We've had some injuries, too, so.
Yeah.
And we've also had big problems ever since the Duke game with, our face-offs, clearing the ball, stuff like that. And, surprisingly, because I know Virginia's got a pretty good face-off guy, but, yesterday, game was yesterday, yeah.
Well, you got it when they're turning it on.
We were winning at some point. It was like 19-2 as far as, face-offs and everything like that. So we dominated there. I still think that we need to improve some places on defense, obviously. But, yeah, some of the problems that we've had, it looks like we've kind of fixed a little bit. But Virginia definitely made it a little close there at the end. So ACC is just tough, though, man. We were 5-4 and we were ranked 11th.
I know. Yeah. So. And when you look at the ACC in the rankings, you got UVA, you've got Duke, you've got Notre Dame, you've got UNC,
Carolina, and Virginia.
And Virginia. Yeah. All ranked. So that's
not at one point all 5 were in the top 10. So we lost last week.
Yeah,
so.
we were 11th yesterday heading into that game, right?
Yeah, we needed that.
Yeah, it was
big. We needed that one.
Yeah. So, anyways, keep your eyes on that. What time? When's that game? When's that Notre Dame game? I would ask you that, huh? Wouldn't I?
Yeah, you would, and I don't know. Sorry.
Well, I know.
It's tough.
I know when it is. It is May 1st, Saturday. So, 12 p.m. on the road. Okay. So, by the way,
I think good on the road.
What's that?
Noon.
Yeah.
Noon game on ESPNU. So they played pretty good on the road.
Yeah. So one more thing before we get into a little bit of football news here, and that would be the turnover of the Syracuse women's basketball team.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you look at the 12 since they got ousted from the tournament, you had 12. Well, you had some. What? You had Tiana left, obviously, to try to go pro. She did not get drafted, but she went undrafted,
she got picked
right?
Up by a team.
Yeah. So, and then you've got 11 more.
No, actually, no. She got undrafted.
Yeah. She got picked. It was like a day after or 2 days after. It was really quick. But anyway, you've got your freshman defensive player of the year, Cordosa, right? And Emily,
and rookie of the year,
right? Yeah, and your sixth player of the year. So that went to transfer portal. You just look at the number and you're like 12 is a ton. So Cuse dipped in there and he's done what he could, but mustered up 10 guards and 3 forwards. So a little guard heavy. They could probably use a center. So I don't know what that looks like, but. What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think of just that type of turnover? I mean, you look at it and you have to at least speculate a little bit. Like, okay, what's going on here? Because why would you leave? Why would that many players leave? All but 2 of the original teams gone. So when that many players leave, it raises red flags to me. I'm sorry, it just does. So I don't know if it's the coaching, if it's the school. I don't know if we'll ever know. Obviously, we'll always, it'd always be sugar coated. But
it's tough. It's tough. You can't really look at it in one because, realistically, when we look at it, the WNBA, it's nice to get in there professionally, and obviously, you want to play sports professionally. But at the same time, they don't get great revenue. Unless you're a real superstar. I mean, there's a lot of other professions where you could probably make more money. And so we don't really know the situation as far as...
Well, 5 of them went to other ACC teams.
Well, but I'm saying we had quite a few. I think we had there was 3 guards that got kind of in trouble near the end of the year, and I think that had a lot. They were suspended indefinitely, and I think that had a lot to do with them leaving. But then I think there was 4 or 5 seniors, and and just because of that situation, the females, they don't really have the same type of options that males have as far as professional basketball based upon, just popularity and revenue. There's plenty of
G League options
places. Yeah. So it would be more believable, for lack of a better word, that a female senior in a women's group or in a women's in college women's basketball would transfer to a graduate school for her career, if that makes sense.
To get that extra year and get that extra because obviously the options are slim. Whereas,
you get a chance where you get that extra year because of COVID, and you get a chance to go somewhere without sitting out. And if it's going to help your career in graduate school and stuff, something that Syracuse didn't have, then why wouldn't you take advantage of that? So I think there's probably most definitely some situations, but again, when you get 12, it's like...
But you could come back to Syracuse too. I mean, you weren't, you didn't have to...
Right, but I think more or less most times, the transfer portal stuff is... I can only see players in lower level schools, you're in a mid-major school, so you want to throw your name out there, and then if no bigger schools bite, then go back, if you want to try to play better competition. But, you're playing Syracuse in the ACC, so if you transfer out, you're most likely going to stay out. And I was among the whole time. I know that we picked up 4 players from the transfer portal, and I know that we have a decent recruiting class coming in. And I was just kind of along the lines of, as long as Cardosa stays and we got that anchor in the middle, that we'd be able to figure it out. And now it's just really, really made it kind of nerve-wracking for the next year. And, good luck to Q. I hope that all is well, because obviously, too, I mean, with everything that's going on with the states and rules as far as COVID stuff and all that kind of stuff, it's tough. I mean, that's partly the reason why we don't have a lot of news as far as spring football goes. I mean, they're just clamped down to where, they're not allowing the press, and usually they would allow 10 minutes a day, and they'd have more press conferences. And so, yeah, I mean, you never know if it's a situation where players want to move closer to home, and if restrictions or certain rules that are coming up. I mean, they're a private institution in New York. Who knows what they're talking about? So, yeah, it's all speculation, but I hope that everything's all good and the noses are clean as far as coaching staff goes, because I don't want, if it's that's going to be a controversy problem, then that's because now you're going to have a perpetual problem if you still see all these people leaving every single year. So
yeah, I mean, just the numbers a lot, but anyway, moving on.
You lose 12 plus Tiana. Yeah. You're basically overhauling your whole roster. So
yeah, absolutely. And they always want to act like, oh, it's no big deal. But, right. Hillsman did bite back. He was quoted as saying, main reason I'm doing this is from a press conference. Main reason I'm doing this today is because you guys are going to lose your mind if I don't. I'm here to do media because I'm tired of doing it at gas station, Starbucks, and in the steakhouse. So a little bit, he reached into his inner Boeheim and pulled that one out. I think that's great. Whatever, give it to him. Part of me says give it to him, but part of me says, there's some responsibility to address that. But whatever. Okay.
True.
Tyrell Richards is going to enter the transfer portal as well for Syracuse football. 54 tackles, 33 solo, 9.5 for a loss, and along with 6 sacks in that while his time at SU in his career. That is according to Noon's Magician. So I remember, he did a lot last year for what, for the role he played, and you got to fill that void. So
no, he was kind of getting back from injuries and on and off with injuries and stuff like that. So Yeah, it's definitely somebody that obviously helped us, and he's definitely got a lot of experience. But it could be telling too, because we have had pretty good linebackers come in the last few years, and maybe it's just a situation where he kind of sees that he might not get as much playing time as maybe he wants, or maybe he just didn't fit in with the 3-4 last year and he wants something different. So yeah, I mean, you remember there was a situation where he didn't know if he was going to play last year, and he was one of the last guys that decided to play, but was thinking about it, that they kind of came back. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, it really doesn't surprise me, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah,
really
he was 3 years and he played how many games, Joe? Do you know? I was trying to look that up. I think I got it.
I mean, he's definitely been in some games. I mean, this past year was a year where he was set to be like a starter and everything. And I know he was dubbed just coming in from Canada and kind of a freak of nature because he was, like 6'4", 230, just, athletic guy. But he's kind of been marred by injuries, and obviously we've had depth there in the past too. So, and when you look at it, I mean, Mikael Jones, Marlo Wax, Stephon Thompson, Steve Linton. We've had some good players come in. I mean, I still haven't heard anything about Lee Pogba and his suspension and what's going on with that. But
yeah, what's up with that? I mean, I don't need to know what he's suspended for, but I mean,
yeah, I don't know, and I still haven't heard any news from it. I do not even know if he is actually on campus or even doing the spring football thing. It just hasn't been reported on, and again, the lack of reporting on that is kind of. Some Syracuse media outlets have been really kind of slamming them and talking about that. Just the fact that you really don't have anything. They had a little thing where they had the Sterling Gilbert and Tony White, the two, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. They had, a little media session or whatever just to speak on some stuff, but they really kind of kept their cards close to their chest. They didn't really speak to. I mean, they spoke about certain players, but they weren't specific. They brought up Sean Tucker and how he's been looking good. So, that's a good thing, basically because of last year. And we know that Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard are going to have to come back and fight for their position. Plus, the running back Huff that we got coming in that I'm excited about. But also talked about the offensive line and how Chris Blake is really impressing, and he's definitely going to be a part of this offensive line. I'm excited that we're possibly
putting something together. Finally.
No, I'm just saying we have everybody coming back from that offensive line last year. Not saying it's great, but now you bring in 6 freshmen. You bring in a transfer from Texas, right, Willie Tyler, and then you have Chris Blake, who probably should have played last year. He transferred from Florida. I mean, he's going to be a guy that steps right in, and it just makes your offensive line better. I expect a better year from Vettorello and Bergeron, and also the senior, Cervais, him coming back too. I think he's got a lot to make up, and because last year I just don't think he played that well. It's just so funny because he's had such great years, and then he's had such bad years. So hopefully that can get put together with the new coach and everything. But bodies and talent shouldn't be an excuse this year, like it has last year, the past however many years, injuries and
just the COVID year stuff, and this, you're gonna finally.
But even before that, it's always been like, well, we have an okay offensive line, but like if this one guy gets hurt, then.
Well, this is going to be totally different, though. Like this, we don't got a tight end on the line. This is going to be totally different. You've got a quarterback race, I guess you could call it, whatever.
Right.
There's going to be some competition there, and you're going to have depth at running back. Did not have that last year. It's going to be totally different. I understand we're losing some DBs, but it's next man up.
We lost Nykeem Johnson, right? But most of the receivers are coming back. I know they said good things about Quealy and Tosh Harris, obviously, and he even spoke a little bit about. They asked, obviously, the media is going to ask about the quarterback competition, but he really didn't say anything other than, well, it's spring football. Garrett just got here, and Tommy obviously knows the program, knows the system, knows the players and personnel, and has been here longer.
Well, he's going to have less excuses too this year, and
Oh yeah, but I mean, again, he really didn't say anything other than the fact that
well,
look, he just got here, and
obviously
Tommy is going to be ahead of him because of the fact that he knows the players. He has certain, he's been thrown to these receivers for 3 years plus, and he knows the system. Was with this offense coordinator last year, so. But he really didn't say too much other than that. But I definitely expect the offense to be better this year for sure. And obviously, like I said, as far as defense goes, with that whole defensive line coming back, and Tony White, I guess he came out with a lot of he was just really, really fired up, and he was just saying that last year, it wasn't the defense that he envisioned. It's not what the 3-4 is supposed to do. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, I know there were some games that we gave up some points, but it was an exciting defense to watch, right? I mean, I know we got 3 defensive backs that are possibly going to be drafted on Thursday, but they didn't really play that much last year other than Melifonwu. And, our young players were all over the place creating turnovers. Mikael Jones creating turnovers. I mean, really other than rushing the quarterback as far as pass rush, we were pretty good until we basically were just on the field too much because our offense couldn't move. So it's definitely going to be exciting, and I definitely wish that there was more media access and more stories so we could have more news and more stuff to talk about, which is partly why we haven't been here in 2.5 weeks. But here we are.
This is all the news. By the way, Tyrell Richards, 31 games totaled in 8 in 2020. Just figured I'd throw that out there since I spent the time to look it up before Joe went on this rant. Anything else, Joe, football related?
Yeah, other than obviously that, like I just spoke, NFL draft.
Yes.
This week, Thursday. Yes. I know that Sean really doesn't care, but
it's not that I don't care about our players. That's not it. It's that the draft will be on, but unless a Syracuse player is going or the Raiders are pulling someone out of a hat, then I don't really care.
See, and that's my thing is that I'm more excited this year because for like the last 4 years.
Alton Robinson, it's been the only one. Is that right?
Yeah, it was Alton Robinson. Other than that, it's
Shane,
been like punters.
Yeah.
So it's like you rarely get this. You'll get these articles where it's like, well, this guy has had a couple workouts and this and that, and he might go 5th round to undrafted.
I know
fifth round to, you know what I mean? And
it's agonizing.
Like, and then there's only punters, which again we do have a punter, Nolan Cooney, who's in there, who they're talking about might get drafted late. But this is the first time in a while where they're talking about Melifonwu and Cisco having first day grades.
Really?
But, yeah, they have. I think in one they have Cisco as a top 5 or 6 safety in the draft, and just Melifonwu, all his measurables and everything like that, was pretty good. He put up a solid season this year, considering who was missing and how long they played defense because our offense couldn't stay on the field, like I said before. But I would expect Melifonwu and Cisco to probably not get drafted on Thursday because it's only round 1. But Friday is round 2 and 3, and I probably would expect at least one of them, if not both, to come off the board. And I really wouldn't be surprised come Saturday if the other 2 go. That's probably where Trill's going to get drafted. He's just an athletic freak of nature, and he's going to get drafted based upon that because the team's going to look at him as a project and where can we fit him in. But Melifonwu and Cisco probably got a better chance of getting drafted higher. I just hope they all get drafted, and it's just exciting because we don't sit around for 3 days and just watch a punter get drafted. So,
yeah, absolutely. Definitely makes it better. I mean, look, I'm into the draft. Okay, my son puts it on. It's just that, like you said, first of all, there hasn't been a ton of excitement surrounding our guys coming out. And to be honest with you, it hasn't been a ton of excitement just in general for me because I'm a Raiders fan. And it's like treading water. I've been treading water since 2003. It's brutal. And after 18 years, you lose the enthusiasm. It's like I need.
You're not enthusiastic over the past couple years with Gruden, and
No.
I mean, Jacobs looks like a good running back.
Yeah,
Ruggs
he's
looks
great.
like he's gonna be all right. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't see this team getting better. You guys were very competitive last year.
Last year was brutal with the injuries and the COVID stuff. So,
Well,
I'm not even going. The injuries were bad last year on the offensive line for the Raiders.
Yeah.
They were bad. So, and we've released a lot of guys, and also we had like the biggest offensive line in the league, I believe. And it just kind of, big guys fall harder. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened. So I'm just enthusiasm is not there. We'll see. I'm not like sold on it at all.
Right.
No. So anyway. All right. Right. Robert Braswell, he gets picked up by Charlotte out of the portal. Woody Newton, this is a big one, kind of, I thought, to Oklahoma State. He's going to be a Cowboy, baby. So those two picked up out of the portal. Alan Griffin, he's going to enter the NBA draft. He is expected to sign with an agent. He averaged 13.3 points and 5.8 rebounds a game, shot 36% from behind the arc this past season. He is the sixth player to leave the program after they got beat by Houston in the NCAA tournament. So we talked about Kadari Richmond going to Seton Hall, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Last episode. Okay. So we're still waiting on Q, but what do you think of Alan Griffin's chances? This one, I expected maybe Alan was going to stay. I mean, if I had to bet on it, Joe, I would have said Alan's going to stay. It's just like his body language and things and how he finished the year. I didn't see him transferring again because he had just done it. I didn't expect him to go into the draft because of how he finished. So, kind of a shock to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that sneakily, like, I just think, because I'm right there with you, but in the back of my mind, like, I was thinking about this the other day, like, it probably took him so long because I think he was actually deciding between transfer portal or just going pro.
Yeah, I don't think I guess you're right, because
I don't really think that staying at Syracuse is really an option.
I'm a little disappointed by it, though, because I'm not like offended by it, but I'm kind of like, well, what the hell? I mean, you transferred here for an opportunity, get the opportunity. I don't think I don't think that Allen was the best he could have been the last eight games of the season. All through ACC tournament, NCAA tournament, he was not good. He was almost not even relevant. And you would think he would either want to come back for that opportunity. I think hitting the transfer portal is less likely an option than coming back, because who wants someone that's just going to, play musical teams? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Although talented, because he's talented, bro. Like, it's there.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I think he
definitely is. And
the defense.
A situation with me where, defense was part of it, and I just don't think he was a great fit with the defense and with just our personnel.
That's kind of I guess that's probably.
And realistically, coming into this season, it's tough because when you look at it, I mean, it's tough to watch the NCAA tournament, right? Or the ACC tournament, the last end of the year, and see he wasn't all ACC. What did he get? Honorable mention?
Yeah, I think
he was an honorable mention player for the conference, and you got a guy that barely played minutes in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
So I think this was just a situation where, and it tells you again, it speaks to his talent.
Absolutely.
Because he had game-winning plays, and he had games where he scored 20-plus points, and that's why we won. So
he had some defensive game-winning plays too.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
With blocks and stuff like that. So it's tough because it's in one instance, people kind of they remember you at the end of the year, right? But
it's kind of what have
pretty
you
much through 3/4 of the season, he overcame what my expectations were with him coming in, because I didn't see him starting, and I always thought Sidibe was going to be. And then once he got hurt, that was when he had to come in and he got those minutes that he wasn't going to get. So he stepped up early, but then when it got to a point, like he didn't progress like some of the bench players did. And all of a sudden, Jesse Edwards gave us a chance to be a little bit bigger. Robert Braswell gave us a chance to be a little bit bigger with a little bit better defense. And they progressed and got to a point where they helped us out because, they filled a need that Alan Griffin really couldn't do. But Alan Griffin, what he could do, we didn't really need him to because we had these other guys over here doing it, right? So, again, I think it was a personnel issue. And as the season went on, we needed it less and less because there was other guys that offered different skills and different things that we needed, especially on the defensive end and as far as rebounding goes, that helped our team. So, yeah, by the end of the year, you looked at him as like a basic bench player that just started.
Yeah,
to see if he got hot.
I agree. More talented than that, though. I think as far as raw talent goes, you said, it was not a good fit. 13 points a game, almost 6 rebounds a game, 36% from behind the arc. It's pretty solid. It was just
when you look at the numbers,
it's the what have you done for me lately
right
kind of look, and he didn't do a lot for Syracuse at the end. So.
And he's just at the end, he's tried a little bit too hard, I think, to do some things that like the coach wanted him to do differently. And it got to the point at the end of the year where, you hadn't progressed, you hadn't gotten to a point where you're used to doing these things and that the coach needs you to do. And now you're out there kind of just trying to figure it out during tournament games and like end of the year. Like that's not when you figure it out. So again, it's just got to a point where our personnel in certain areas got a little better and they came in and they helped us more than what he could. And that's not a slight on him. It's just, sometimes it's personnel fit, how deep the team goes, matchups and just how they play, the game. We played 2-3 zone and
bad shots early in games.
Right. So,
in the middle of games.
Yeah. So, I guess you looked at it like instead of going to transfer to another school, getting acclimated to a third school in 3 years, I'm just going to go out there and, I just
work. Just work.
I wish the best for him. Yeah, he's got to work. He definitely has to work.
Yeah,
and
do the best I can.
Your profession.
Yep.
Yeah, but and this isn't I hope he proves me wrong, but it's tough for me to even see him in the G League. So if it's a situation where he's gonna go and he's just gonna maximize the time he has to play professional, and even if that's overseas, then so be it. But everybody, they get it's their choice, their life. They want to
absolutely.
chase their dream.
And,
go for it.
And wish him luck. Obviously, it was a good year. Him in Orange. I would have liked to see him another year. I think it would have been really good. I think he could have been really good. But at the end of the day, he's going to take a gamble, and that gamble is a big one. I think that's a tough one. I think that's a tough one to pull off, but not for anything. Either way, you get in, you don't. It's still exposure. You're still the right people are seeing you. And you've hired an agent, and that agent's going to work to put you somewhere if they can, whether it be G League, whether it be over Europe, whatever. So, he's going to try to go make some money.
And his father's an ex-NBA player. So he's in with all. He's going to get opportunities. Just put it that way.
Right.
And regardless of anything, you got to look at it like, again, he got honorable mention all ACC, which is, getting honorable mention at whatever is pretty impressive. Buddy Boeheim didn't even get honorable mention. And I know, like what you said, is that what have you done for me lately, and what he looked like at the end of the season. But just like what Boeheim said about, if we lose to Buffalo or we lose to Northeastern or we lose to Bryant or this and that, we don't get in the tournament.
Yeah.
Like we would not have made the tournament or had the season that we had without Alan Griffin.
Without him, especially early.
Well, that's what I mean.
He was a star.
He won games for us, and regardless of what he did for us at the end of the year and in the postseason, he got us. He helped us get there. Without him, we wouldn't have seen the post. We would have seen NIT.
Yep, and we wish him luck, and that's one that obviously we'll keep our eyes on. All right, we will take a look at the players that remain for Syracuse basketball heading into next year and the schedule that came out. That should be fun to look at, right, Joe?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But first, before we do that, BetOnline, the title sponsor for Sports Drink and Armchair Media. It's that time of year again. All eyes are on the NBA and the Major League Baseball's in full swing. And the Yankees, they're, we talked about the Raiders. Well, the Yankees are doing much better. So, I pulled off a couple here lately. But BetOnline has all of the betting action. In the NBA, the conference's races are heating up as teams prepare to make their run for the playoffs. And if you're a baseball fan, BetOnline has you covered. If you love hockey, golf, MMA, and championship boxing, BetOnline has it all. Every game, every sport, every matchup, BetOnline has you covered on all the odds, real-time updates, and is the place to be for all your sports betting needs. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to place and check in on all your favorite sports bets all of the time. Head over to the website, use your mobile device today, sign up, bring home the game with BetOnline, betonline.ag. Kanan sunglasses. Look, is the sun out in Syracuse yet? It's got it's got to peek through once in a while. And if it is, you need some Kanan sunglasses. Your outdoor experience could be better, clearly better. Kanan sunglasses are made exclusively with polarized lenses, right? For optimal clarity using Japanese optics, Kanan's lenses are clearer, lighter, and stronger than other lenses and are nearly impossible to scratch. With frames handcrafted in Italy, Kanan sunglasses elevate your experiences outside with a degree of clarity beyond your wildest imagination. Use the exclusive code KananCast15 at Kanan.com and receive 15% off on your first pair. That's KananCast, KAENONCAST 15. Kanan, clearly better. Thank you, Kanan. Okay. All right, Joe. So with Quincy still up in the air, obviously we don't know what that is, but it would have been nice to know something, but I don't know when the cutoff for that is, but
no, I mean a lot of that, which I don't even think we talked about. I mean, with
what, Joe? With what?
With Jimmy. Did we even talk about Jimmy?
Oh, we did not talk about Jimmy. Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. So look. All right. Thank you. Pump the brakes, Sean. Pump the brakes.
See, you were about to you made fun of me.
I know. Ass. That always happens. So thank you, Joe. Okay, hold on. So you've got. We knew this was going to happen. This is like breaking news. No. Right.
We're a little late to the.
Well, no. I'm even saying when it was breaking news. It really wasn't breaking news, right?
I think we all assumed it.
He's got to sit. He sat out all last year. Didn't get to play a lick of basketball. Obviously, it's the easy choice. It's the easy decision. We all expected it. In fact, if it didn't happen, I would have been disappointed. But where does he fit? We'll talk about that. But, Joe, is this the most Syracuse team ever? This has got to be the most Syracuse team ever.
Absolutely.
Right? Has to be. Coach Red, Coach Mack, Coach Boeheim, his two sons, Samir Torrance.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the most Syracuse basketball team of all time. And I don't want to get all...
Joe Girard? You said Joe Girard.
Oh, yeah, Joe Girard. Duh.
He's local.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Samir being a fan and also Joe a fan, even though Joe a little bit outside there. But, when you have this hyped up like this, all right, and I'm not hyping it, I'm just saying the hype is going to be there. They'll create the hype. It'll be there.
Oh, it's going to be there.
Yeah. So you've got the two sons, and we'll talk about that. And you've got Joe and Samir, and it seems like this team seems, I guess I'm just an optimist maybe in this aspect. This team seems so put together to me that, I mean, if this isn't going to be one of the more exciting teams to watch in recent history, I would be shocked. I really honestly would.
Yeah.
I don't know what Jimmy's going to bring. Jimmy did, he did score like 18 against us when the one time that the brothers did face off against one another. Mm-hmm. Right? So, I mean, he's a good player. 6'8", good player.
Right.
What do you think, Joe?
I always looked at him as a player that would be able to come off the bench for us.
Yes,
and
right.
kind of help. But also an older guy, an experienced guy that if, something's going on, because, again, Benny Williams being a 5-star, Obviously, he's coming into play, and obviously he has talent, and he's got better talent than Jimmy. But that doesn't mean that he's a better basketball player than him right now. And hopefully that helps as far as getting him ready to go. When you look at teams like this, if you're a Jimmy Boeheim, both coach and son, that you need Benny Williams to be as good as he can possibly be. Right. And Cole Swider to figure out as much as he can, as fast as he can, if this team wants to be,
talented dude, Cole Swider. Really.
Oh, absolutely.
Really.
Absolutely. And that's realistically how those two, and obviously this is talking about Quincy not coming back, but how those two get acclimated and how they play is really going to tell us. It's going to be a lot about, next season. I mean, obviously we need to see what Torrance can do too, since he's the only other guard. So hopefully he's a combo guard that can,
we need all three guards to play, Joe. We need all three guards.
I know we need all the guards to play, but we need a guard that, other than Joe Girard, that can bring the ball up. And then, he's labeled the combo guard, so hopefully he can come in and he can be the guy that can come in, and the other guy, whether it's Buddy or Joe, can scoot over to shooting guard, and then we can figure it out. But Benny Williams and Cole Swider are going to be the main guys. That does not mean that Jimmy's not going to start early or that he's not going to get some minutes. And obviously, him being his son, he's going to get minutes. But where really it gets tricky is if Quincy does come back.
Okay, well, that's where I'm going. Okay, so Jimmy's going to take number 2. He was number 3 at Cornell. He's going to take number 2, just if anybody was wondering. He doesn't want to he doesn't want to fill the 3 shoes. So, I don't know if you saw that. It was an interview with Donna Datota. By the way, guess what I found out? Guess what? Little tidbit here that I'm going to throw out here before I forget to mention it. If you ever are perusing through Syracuse.com and you're not a subscriber and paying for it, right? And there's something that you really want to see. If you Google that headline, MSN has those unlocked. So I have found them numerous times. I'm just throw that out there. Do you understand what I'm saying, Joe?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You don't care. You're so boring sometimes. Golly, day, wake up. Okay,
Sorry, dude.
All right, roster with Q. Joe, Buddy, Benny. Who do you see? I mean, what do you think? Quincy or Swider? Sidibe. Okay, because that's where the battle's at, right? So, I mean, some could say, well, the battle could be with Joe and Smear too, and that's quite possible. But the main battle, if Quincy does come back, is between him and Cole Swider. And honestly, with the way, I don't know, I'm going to let you go first. I would not be surprised to see Quincy early and then Swider take that spot over if Quincy does come back. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, if Quincy comes back, he's probably, if I'm Quincy, I want to know I'm starting. And, to be perfectly honest with you, I feel like Jimmy coming to Syracuse kind of,
pushes him out a little bit.
I'm expecting Quincy to leave.
Yeah, I think Jimmy
and I know
coming.
He hasn't technically done it.
Right.
But for the purpose of your question, then yeah, I think that that Quincy would end up starting. I don't know who would start between Benny or Cole, but I just feel like looking at some stuff, and Benny Williams, he might be better than. It's hard to say. He's so talented, and Cole Swider giving us a 6'9" down there that can shoot threes. It would just be very difficult to make all 4 of those forwards happy.
Oh, I know.
Just the way that Boeheim, the way he coaches.
Yeah, you're going to be way heavy there. Jimmy won't get hardly any minutes, in my opinion. Foul trouble situations. Things like that. But like you said. I would be surprised at this point if Quincy comes back too, and we'll see. But like with the same thing I said about Alan Griffin, the way Quincy finished the year just wasn't that impressive to me. He was missing a lot of close stuff, and he just didn't finish the year the way I expected him to, especially since he got the minutes he got, and he seemed perfectly healthy. Year before, he's got the groin injury, and we all see, the difference to this year. But at the end of the day, Quincy missed some easy stuff, man, a lot of times. And sometimes it'd be hot.
Well, and that's the thing is that, I mean, it was more or less for him, especially in the postseason, it was like a tale of two halves. It was like he would play bad in the first half, and then he would get fired up by somebody, and then he would, start making plays. So, to me personally, I mean, I think he's right there in the middle. I think that based upon talent, and I mean, I think he's got a better shot than Allen as far as making the professional level or anything like that, at least for right now. They both have a lot of potential. And so they'll both get attention and they'll both get their chances. But I saw so many. And again, this is just the difference between today's game and back when we grew up watching these players, right? I mean, now you can, you get a guaranteed transfer without even sitting out every single year, right? And you don't sit here and you don't watch these players just grow and develop and get better. And I mean, it was obvious. A player like Alan Griffin and a player like Quincy 15, 20 years ago, and even longer than that, 25 years ago with us growing up, they're staying because they don't have that NBA game. But nowadays, kids go because you can become a millionaire overseas if you play your cards right. So,
yeah, and that's fine. And that's why I hate the 1 year rule thing. I mean, if the kids can go, let them go.
Yeah.
I don't care where they go. It doesn't hurt anybody. They can make their own decisions. Who is the NBA or the NCAA to say, you can't make this decision. You have to go to 1 year of college. It would eliminate a lot of issues if you just do, let the automatic transfers happen and with the one time, right? One time transfer rule, let it happen immediately, eligible, and let these kids go from high school. I get it that it could create some issues, but it won't affect the NCAA. I mean, how does it affect the NCAA?
All they really care about is their pockets. So
I know, and they're going to get the money.
Whatever they think in their head, they're going to do, right?
Right,
so,
and they're going to get the money no matter what. So
we know the kids' best interest ain't the first in mind. So there's really no rhyme or reason. All I know is that it's a different college basketball game than it was 20, 30 years ago. And I used to enjoy seeing, a recruit. And I guess this kind of goes to your argument, right? Because I always get pumped up about recruiting, and you're like, yeah, let's see what he does when he gets here. Let's see if he gets here, right? Let's not get all crazy about, a good recruit a year before he's even going to be here, right?
Right.
And just now more than ever, it's like you can't even look at a guy and be like, oh man, I wonder what he's going to be like in 2 or 3 years. It's just being in the system and getting his body right. You know what I mean? You can't even look forward to a team growing together because half of them are going to transfer, half of them are going to go pro.
And that's just it. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. So if they can go out of high school, let them go. We've had this discussion on here numerous times.
100%, yeah.
And if
I don't want.
You don't want
sit here like me personally, but you know what I mean. Most, I think, fans are like this. I mean, even talking to your brother, who's a Duke fan, and the way that everything's going, and the way that things have been, recently here, where it's just like a revolving door of just players come in and they either transfer or they go straight pro, and then you got to worry about a whole recruiting class coming in of 5 stars to figure it out again.
Right. All right. Let's see. We got someone in the locker room here. Howard, go ahead, man. What do you think? You letting kids straight out of high school go to the NBA or what?
Honestly, I think it was kind of. The thing is, I think it was because of, from what everybody says, it was because of a dude that was actually supposed to be drafted, that was actually supposedly a better player before LeBron James. That's the story. That they say that they want kids to at least get a year worth of. I guess it's the whole development thing because, believe it or not, quick question. Have y'all ever heard of this theory where basically your most athletic year is potentially your age 19 year?
I mean,
For some people, they say your most athletic year is your age 19 years. So it's like they just want kids to develop. They don't want people being too young and then having to basically, they don't want having kids in the NBA, but regardless, you're going to have kids in the NBA because of the one and done rule. And Coach John Calipari. But the whole thing about the NBA withholding kids in college for 1 year is basically going to make like that whole one and done thing is now a Stone Age thing. Like now you have people going to Australia like LaMelo Ball and RJ Hampton. So the one and done rule is literally just now it's a dinosaur age thing. Like
Right.
nobody's doing that anymore. Nobody wants to wait a year. They want to get paid now. Like they see basketball as a craft. Like they see it as a job. They want to get paid right now, not wait a full year and then get paid. And then basically it's kind of like you remember Kwame Brown?
Yep.
So everybody around, because I'm from the area that Kwame Brown lived. Like there were players.
Syracuse, right?
Huh?
Where's he from?
He's actually from Brunswick, Georgia.
Okay.
So the thing is that Kwame Brown was not that good. There was a guy from my hometown in Jessup that was actually eons better than Kwame Brown. And he shut him down. Like, he literally shut Kwame Brown down. Everybody was saying, well, Kwame Brown should go to college, you know what I'm saying, develop his game, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, if Kwame Brown goes to college, he doesn't get that NBA contract, and he basically gets exposed in college. So there's an upside and downside to everything, but
Well, yeah, but at the end of the day, though, it's up to the kid and his parents and not the NBA or the NCAA, in my opinion.
And the financial situation that the kid is, because a lot of these kids are basically trying to get that contract to help out their families and support their families.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
And they should.
Howard, I've heard that too, because males, it takes them a little bit longer to mature, and there's a lot of growth spurts, like you said. I think Scottie Pippen had a 5 or 6 inch growth spurt in college. To get him to 6'7", I think he was 6'3" when he went to Central Arkansas. So that does happen. But I do agree with Sean in kind of where you're coming from, where if you want to go, then you can go. And if you dominate high school, like you said with Kwame Brown, like he did, why not go and take advantage of kind of the limelight and the spotlight that you're in? Because if he goes to college and he gets injured or he gets exposed by other centers, like you said, he might have to wait a couple years before he goes and gets that number 1 pick. And another thing, too, to me personally, is I think the NCAA is kind of irresponsible for this because, again, to Howard's point, kids now are going overseas instead of even going to college for 1 year. So I think it's kind of irresponsible to have to force some of these kids to go to an Australia or to go to some of these other countries just to have to maybe make some money and play a game that they like just for 1 year just to go to the NBA. So I think that they should be able to make it available for them to, work on their craft without having to go into college and allow them to make a little bit of money and get drafted.
Howard, thanks a lot, buddy. Hit us, follow us, and hit us back up again sometime. All right.
All right, man.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
All right, top fan on Facebook. That's right, Jesse. What's up, Jesse?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing, man?
Doing well.
Look, so we were talking about, first of all, your thoughts on the one and done rule. Should these kids be I got Syracuse stuff to talk about with you. So, what do you think about the one and done stuff?
I think it's just the players kind of whatever they want to do, honestly.
You think it should be up to them. They want to go to high school, they want to take the gamble. They've talked about it with their family and an agent or whatever. They should be able to do what they want to do.
Absolutely. I think we wouldn't have the game without the players. So
yeah,
and what they want to do.
It's less convoluted inside the NCAA too when you've got players that have to play a year before they can go pro. And I just think
especially when they don't want to be there.
It's exactly, and it's less. It's just less BS. Let's just put it that way. So, all right. Hey, look, you're up to date on the news, I assume, right, Jesse?
What's the news?
Well, we haven't been live the whole time. So just the fact that the as it sits right now, we're still waiting on Quincy to make his decision. But with Jimmy coming in and Samir Torrance and Cole Swider transferring, What do you think about that? What do you look? I know you are a huge Kadari fan. You actually were one of the guys that was really pushing you. Well, let's put it this way. You, I think, were one of the first ones that I heard that said he was going to transfer. And Joe and I were like, "Nah, you're not going to transfer. It's not going to happen."
I kind of had a feeling very, very early in the season that was going to happen.
Yeah, you were.
And the more I watched, the more it just looked that way.
Right. So, what do you think
was
about?
Was it a body language thing, or I mean, what gave you that? Just because he wasn't starting in the minutes?
A little bit. I live in Kentucky, so I live in Lexington, so I watch the Wildcats play a lot too. So
okay.
I'm kind of just used to knowing what good players want to do, and then also why would he stay? Because he is like NBA caliber talent, and he's playing behind somebody that literally the best thing that Joe did was shoot threes, I guess, or that's what most people think that he does well. And he shot the same percentage as Kadari on the year. They both shot 33%.
So
yeah, Kadari's 3-pointers were definitely getting better near the end of the year for sure.
They were, and honestly too, like if you're shooting that kind of low of a percentage, Kadari shot I think maybe 15, 20 threes on the whole year.
Yep.
And I would rather have just a lower amount of threes than, just chucking them up every game.
Yep.
That's just what I.
Well, I mean, we're with you there. There's plenty of criticism.
Well, that's
that.
what got Joe on the bench too, real fast.
Yeah, it did. But I understand where you're coming from. I do.
Me too.
So with that said, though, how do you feel about what has been picked up? Samir Torrance at the guard spot now, and with Jimmy coming in, Q, like I said, is up in the air, but you've got Benny Williams coming in. What do you think? How do you think this roster looks heading into next season?
I like the whole roster except for the point guard position.
Shocker.
Yeah, and it's not that I dislike Joe. I was pulling just as hard for Joe his freshman year because I could not stand Jalen Carey. I was pulling for Joe his freshman year, and that's the point guard that we needed that year. But when we get Kadari, he's just much better, and he actually is a point guard, not a shooting guard. So we don't have a true point guard other than maybe Samir Torrance. I haven't really watched him that much. But I don't think that he has the length that Kadari had. I don't think that he has the playmaking ability, the passing, just the vision, that kind of stuff, the defense especially. It's like we have a bench point guard right now and a backup shooting guard, but we don't have that starting caliber point guard. But the rest of the roster, I like. I like Jimmy Boeheim. Yeah, Jimmy Boeheim coming in. I like Quincy coming back if he does. I kind of like everybody really.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good, man. I really do. Joe and I were just talking earlier about Quincy, and with Quincy,
I think you're going to be better everywhere but point guard.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Dude, I don't know. It depends.
Well, I mean, Jesse will be better, and you get Sidibe, who, if he can come back healthy, so you have that position that's better. And I think that just based upon Benny Williams, even if Quincy doesn't come back, just based upon Jimmy Boeheim and Benny Williams and Cole Swider's size, I think that gives us kind of a better forward situation as well. And Buddy's going to be Buddy, and then it just comes down to, again, Joe being the point guard, and now Samir Torrance, who's labeled a combo guard. But, we don't have Marek to bring the ball up if Joe can't. So Samir Torrance definitely has to be able to be that point guard that can come in and kind of just run the show.
Yeah, and you heard Mike McAllister, I believe it was Mike McAllister, said that he could give Joe a run for that spot too. So, again, we saw what Joe did when there was someone nipping on his heels last year, and hopefully the sophomore slump is over, heading into his junior year, and hopefully, he can show us some maturity on that end. He got a little better towards the end of the year. I think he was good in both the tournaments. He was all right. But you're right, man. Kadari was just, him and the way he progressed was excellent. Obviously, if Buddy picks up where he left off, you kind of expect that to happen, but you never know. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. So
yeah, well, to what Jesse was saying,
Go
it's
ahead.
like when you look at our history of the point guards in like, I don't even know, the last 10 or whatever. Can we get a point guard? Because, I mean, again, like he says, Jalen Carey, not a huge fan favorite. People really didn't like him. Who was before that? Frank Howard, not really a fan favorite. People really didn't like him. Then we had, Benajay and Cooney trying to figure it out. I mean, we haven't had a true point guard since, I think, Michael Carter-Williams. And we finally had one that was very similar to him and probably better as far as playmaking ability and taking the ball to the hole. And then we just lost him. And now we get to watch him run the show at Seton Hall next year. And it's going to be awful.
Right.
I will say on our defense, too, the best thing that we can get with the guard position is length. If you look at Michael Benajay, 6'7", you look at Kadari, obviously, was 6'5". Frank Howard kind of really was good his junior year, and then he got hurt his senior year, and the whole marijuana thing going into the tournament kind of screwed us. I think we had a good shot that year. But
he came on. His best game he played was right going into that tournament. Was the last game going into it. Yeah,
he just went off.
Yeah, and
and he always had the length to play that top of that 2-3 zone very, very well. And
he did. We were great.
So did Benajay and Cooney, but it was more to me just a true point guard.
I mean, I thought Howard had the potential to be really good, and I just think his body language didn't impress me, man, throughout the years. That's all. He was a little chippy, which I liked. I liked the chippiness, but to other players, not like on the bench. Not on your own.
Didn't think he was like good, but I thought he was good enough in that position, and that's kind of what I'm worried about with Joe, just because he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, more than anybody probably.
Well, and we'll see. We'll see what Samir can do.
We'll see.
Yeah. So, all right, Jesse. Anything else?
I don't think so. I'm good.
Did you take a look at the schedule real quick? Because we're about to talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you first crack at it. Did you get a look at it?
I did not.
Okay. All right. Well, with that said, Joe, we're going to play Boston College twice, Duke twice, Florida State twice, Miami twice, Pittsburgh twice, Wake Forest twice, and that's just the regular season. So
bring it on.
No, non-conference is crazy, though.
The non-conference is a little brutal.
Now, we do get a home game with the ACC Big Ten Challenge. They still haven't announced the team, but at least that's home. Got a game against Georgetown at Georgetown, Villanova at Madison Square Garden, and that battle for the Atlantis tournament, boy. Did you see the field?
Arizona State, Auburn, Loyola Chicago, Michigan State, Connecticut, Virginia, VCU, and Baylor.
It's going to be a fun season to watch.
Not Virginia and VCU, by the way. VCU.
Not Virginia, yes.
Right.
But you look at that, you had six out of the 8 teams made the tournament. I think Arizona State and Auburn were the only ones that didn't. And that's not just like a one-and-done tournament. That's a 3-day – we're going to be playing 3 of those teams.
Right.
So, yeah, that's going to help in our conference. We just can't lose them all.
In the offseason, I look at – well, you remember the last time – if you guys remember the last time we went to New York City, right? It was not good.
No.
So, this is an opportunity, I think, to look at in the offseason and say, we could get ranked early. They might be preseason ranked. Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, how about stay ranked? Because they could go into this and come out decent, or they can go into this and come out 0-3. And then Villanova, that's,
Cole Swider gets his reunion.
Yeah, which is, I don't know if that's always a good thing or not either. So, with that said, the Georgetown game on the road, how do you guys feel about the road home games alternating with Georgetown? Gotta have it, or don't gotta have it?
I think we're going to come out playing pretty well at the beginning of the season. I mean, we're returning a lot of our players. I know a lot left, but we still, we're still going to have some experience there, so that's going to be good.
Duke getting, they got a top 3 recruiting class coming in. So Mark Williams is coming back, who's a huge problem. That guy's a huge problem.
Literally.
So he's a freaking tower. So anyways. All right, Jesse, I appreciate you, buddy. Take care, man.
Hey,
and if we're ever on here, hit us up. It's good having you. All right, buddy. Bye. So, Joe, anything on this schedule for you that besides the preseason stuff, what do you think?
No, just looking at this non-conference slate compared to what has been obviously last year, a COVID non-conference that was kind of weak. But even prior to this, what do we have? Like you said, we went to Madison Square Garden and played like Oregon and somebody, or this is 3 days of you're playing really good competition on top of a Georgetown, on top of a Villanova, on a neutral court. Georgetown's in a way. You're talking about just quadrant one games all over the place. The Battle for the Atlantis is going to be neutral. Madison Square Garden neutral. Obviously, we get the home game against the Big Ten ACC Challenge. So whoever that is, probably going to be close to a quadrant one. So you're talking about a pretty good non-conference schedule. So as long as we don't just lose every single one of those games, then it's going to be helpful for our chances to get in the tournament. And I know that you read off some of those, but BC, Pitt, I don't know how good those teams are going to be. They lost a lot of their really good players. Wake Forest, kind of the same thing. Miami, kind of the same thing. So as much as you said, Duke and who the two Duke and Florida State we played twice. Really not too afraid of a lot of the other teams that you named off that we played twice. So
Boston College, Duke, Florida State, Miami, Pitt, and Wake.
Yeah, so playing Pitt, Wake, Miami, and BC 2 times really isn't a bad situation. It's just the whole Duke, Florida State thing. Hopefully we can get some of those Duke, Florida State games. Hopefully it's more earlier in the season, at least a couple of them.
Well, the two of them. Let me see. Hold on a second. Let me just look at this.
I don't even know. They probably don't have the dates to it yet, do they?
No, they don't have the dates, but I believe it's in order because they got Georgetown at the top over here on the road game. So I assume it goes in order of, when they'd be played. I'm just assuming that. But if I do assume that, Duke would be our 3rd home game. Florida State would be our 4th. And then Duke would be our 3rd road game, and Florida State would be our 4th. So they swap spots on the road. If that's how it goes, which I assume that's how they would do it. So.
Well, I don't think. Either way, when it comes to our conference slate, I don't think that. Even this past year, people like the ACC was down, but you weren't going to get negative points for playing in a down ACC. It's a Power 5 conference, and pretty much everybody that's looked at in these conferences play tough conference schedules. So the non-conference schedule is really, to me, more or less what's more important. Tough games, and got to be able to win some of those. We lose all those 6, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, obviously. But, we'll see.
And they're all losable.
They're all, that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what worries me about it. You got to start the season like that.
Yeah.
So,
but you can't say that we don't have quadrant one opportunities.
Right. And also,
they're not going to be at home.
You can't say they got some cushy non-conference schedule either, which is
your non-conference strength of schedule will be good. Your strength schedule is going to be up there, and as long as you kind of get stuff together, get close to 500 in the conference, and play good near the end of the year, win a couple games in that conference tournament, and we should be all right.
It's a long season after that, so there's plenty of time to make up for it too. So, anyways, all right. With that said, I think that does it for us. Right, Joe? Yeah. And when,
that's pretty much it.
Hey, and when news comes back, we will be here to deliver it. And hopefully that we get some good spring football stuff coming up soon, because it's a freaking mystery right now. But we'll wait for that. Hopefully we get some of that soon.
It's so sitting here watching somebody. My buddy at work, North Carolina, they had their spring game. He went to it on yesterday. Probably pretty rainy, but nonetheless, they still played. I'm watching ESPN Plus and seeing all these other Big 12 and SEC spring games, and they're actually having legit games with fans, and ACC networks, I think, airing something like 7 or 9 spring games out of the ACC this year, and we're not one of them, and we can't even get an interview or just some news or a story. Everything is closed, and it's just really, really frustrating. I don't even know. I know they've done some scrimmages, but you don't get anything from it. And I remember before COVID, we always got. I remember streaming our spring game on ESPN Network down in North Carolina, so I could watch it. Obviously, And they just haven't done that in the past 2 or 3 years. And I think 2 years ago it was because of injuries. Last year it was because of COVID. And this year still because of COVID. And they have a trash governor.
Is it though? Is it though? I mean, come on.
Well, we can say COVID, politics, whatever. Their governor's trash. And I hope that doesn't have, and I hope that's not what's. Did
you take a look at Talladega today by any chance?
I did not, but I'm sure it was probably packed. Yeah, UFC last night was in Jacksonville, and it was 100% packed.
Packed. Let's go. Packed. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know.
I hear you.
Yeah, sadly,
that's a whole nother show.
The states that we're from, yes, and sadly, the state that we're from is probably going to be one of the last to make this close to normal.
He's the leader.
Again, so.
He's the leader on that side with those.
Yeah, well, yeah. Roy Cooper said June 1st the mask mandates are gone, so we'll see how that goes.
Holly freaking Luya. By the way,
I don't wear one anyway, but whatever.
I wear one at work. This is late in the show, so whatever. I wear it at work. Yep. If I'm wearing work gear, I wear it. Okay. I shopped on Friday at Wegmans. I shopped today at Wegmans. I don't wear it anywhere. I wear it at work. That's it. No one has ever said anything to me. No one's said anything to me.
Bro, I've walked in and I've seen people see me and then pull their mask down. Like they don't want to be the first one to do it, right? But it's like, oh, there's one.
Once you,
and it's like. Yeah. Okay. I wear one at work so I don't get fired.
It's like when you're both.
I like my paycheck.
Exactly, and even outside of work, if I'm wearing my hat or my golf shirt, then I am most certainly following the rules because I'm representing the company. But it's like boating. It's like boating, right? You're on the river or you're in the bay on the boat and. You see a boater and you wave. You go to Wegmans and you see another maskless person in there. You're like, hey, what's up, man? So anyway,
it's nice to see your face.
It's nice to see your face. Didn't know you had teeth. So that's it for us. We will be back here as soon as the news comes back. We will be back. Look, thank you, Kane and Sunglasses. Thank you to Sports Drink. Thank you to Bet Online. Thank you to Locker Room app. That was fun. We'll do it again.
It's good. Thank you, Jesse, Howard.
Jesse and Howard, thank you guys. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.